This is the final Easter card that I'm making for 2017. This card design, it just came to me and I thought it was so cute. Even though I had decided to finish, I decided I could do just one more card. This card features several peeps, which I have popped up on the front of the card, and a little bunny who's showing he's mischievous and he did a little bit of painting. And the inside of the card has more peeps. So let me go through this quickly for the materials that I'll be using. I have a card base cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Goes this way. A blue mat cut 4 by 5 1/4. A white panel cut 3 3/4 by 5. A white scrap of paper cut, this is just approximate. This is 2 inches by about 3 or 4. And you'll need a piece of white copy paper. Any size, you just need that to mark off. The stamps I'm using today are Gorgeous Grunge by Stampin' Up, Basket Bunch, also by Stampin' Up, I Heart Art by Paper Smootches, My Kind of Peeps by Simon Says Stamps, and my dollar stamps, of course. The inks I'm using today is Distress Inks Picked Raspberry, Twisted Citron, Mustard Seed. I'll also be using Versafine Onyx Black and Memento Tuxedo Black. I'll be using some Wink of Stella glitter markers. I have yellow, pink, dark pink, and green. Some watercolor pencils, 2 shades of brown, gray, and black. So of course I'll be using my water pen. I'll also need foam tape and my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. Okay, I'm going to clear up most of this stuff and just jump right in. My Kind of Peeps comes with a matching die cut, so I'll be using the die cut to cut out the little peeps. So the first step is to stamp the peeps, 3 of them, on the scrap of white paper. Okay, I'm going to take this to my die cut machine, my Big Shot, and I'm going to, using a Post-it, put the die in place and tape it down with a Post-it so that it doesn't move, and run it through my machine. I'm going to do that for all 3. Be right back. Okay, here's the bunnies. Finish the die cut. So set those aside for now. Get your panel. So quickly stamp these items with the Versafine. First the bunny. And now the paintbrush, but I need to carefully put the paintbrush so that it looks like he's holding it in his hand. I think this might fit, yes. I'm trying to avoid masking this, but if you didn't think you could get close enough, you could always mask it. But I'm going to just try close enough. Okay, and then the sentiment. Now for the bunnies, what I'm going to do is put them generally where I want them to be. and stamp right over them with this stamp from the Gorgeous Grunge. So I'm going to start out with the lightest one, which is the mustard seed. But this is why we need the copy paper, because I'm going to stamp off because it's a little dark, I believe. So stamp once and then directly onto the bunny, and he will stick, so just peel him off. Set him aside. Clean the stamp real quick. Now moving on to the Twisted Citron. I don't have the large pad for this, I just have the mini, but it works just fine. And this directly on it. Only the picked raspberry. Okay, now I want to add a little bit of black dots. So I'm going to do that with the Memento. Clean that up. This particular stamp doesn't like staying on the pad, so I have dropped this on my work many times. Silly thing. I got this stamp set before I found out how to make the Stampin' Up! Clear stamp stick to the clear block, but despite my best efforts, I got the stamp pretty dirty on the back side, so now it's very difficult to make it to stick. So I learned later on not to even apply the colored, the decal to the back, and the stamp sticks to the block really well when you don't do that. So something to remember with Stampin' Up! Clear blocks. Okay, so that's the stamping. I keep the bunnies so that I don't lose them, and I'm going to go on to the watercoloring. Oops. Get everything ready. So this part I'm going to just speed right through so you don't have to watch me do it. But to illustrate watercoloring, its standard is you just take your light color and you go all over, and then you take your medium color of the same shade and you highlight the edges, and the darkest color you add more shadowing on the edges, and then you take your water and blend it all through. There's quite a few videos on my channel showing how to watercolor, so I won't spend too much time talking, and I'm just going to just go right through. Now that I've finished the watercoloring, I'm taking the Wink of Stella glitter brush and I'm putting a little bit of gold on the paintbrush. Now to move to the inside of the card. I have a sentiment which I'm stamping in the Versafine Onyx Black, and I'm going to bring the colors from the outside of the card into the inside by stamping little peeps. This peep stamp is in two parts. The outline I'll be doing in black, and the inside I'll be doing with the colors from the outside. And I have to stamp off the yellow because it is too dark and it would match the outside to do it that way. this stamp set, it's easy to line it up because it's photopolymer. You just look through the stamp and see what you already have down and put the outline on top of it. I'm using the Tuxedo black instead of the Versafine because I don't want it to smear, and the Versafine is a little wetter than the Tuxedo black. And that's all for the inside. I'm giving it a second to dry, and now I'm going to press the seam with my bone folder. I'm going to tape the panel to the mat with my ATG gun, and then tape both of them to the front of the card. I'm going to pop the bunnies up on foam tape. Because they're a little small, I'm going to need to cut the foam tape in half and put a little sliver on the bunny. When you put the foam tape on the cutouts, make sure that you don't accidentally have the tape extending past the outside of the die cut, because it'll show and it won't look as nice. Now just need to trim that a little bit, and now to put the bunnies in place over the colored area that corresponds to each bunny. It won't match up exactly, but because of the stamp is a little bit distressed looking, it'll still be just fine. Now to take my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen and sparkle up the bunny itself. I'm also going to sparkle up the Peeps, because the Peeps candy is very sparkly because it has a little bit of candy on the outside. But I'll do that afterwards. It doesn't show up very well on the camera, so I won't take time now to do it, but I will go back and do it later. So that is the finished card. This is the final card that I'm going to do for this Easter season. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. I put out new content as frequently as I can. There's been a lot of Easter cards so far this year. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Please enjoy the music written and recorded by my brother David, the world's most excellent bass player. I will link to his YouTube channel below. Thank you.